Welcome back to Sola Habibi Baby Storytime. I am Sola Habibi. This is going to be a part 2 for Intro to Pleasure Activism, Alignment for a Care Economy, and a workbook for pleasure-based projects. If you have not listened to part 1, I suggest that you go back and listen to that first. I'm just going to be adding some more little snippets so you can get a little bit more info out of this little booklet. Again, if you like anything that I am reading, please go ahead and go to my website, solahabibi.com, and you can buy yourself a booklet. Alrighty, let's get going. More from Adrienne Marie Brown. Pleasure principles. What you pay attention to grows. This will be familiar to those who have read Emergent Strategy. Actually, all of the emergent strategy principles also apply here. Insert eggplant emoji. Tune into happiness, what satisfies you, what brings you joy. We become what we practice. I learned this through studying somatic. In his book, The Leadership Dojo, Richard Straussy Heckler shares that 300 repetitions produce body memory, and 3,000 repetitions creates embodiment. Yes is the way. When it was time to move to Detroit, when it was time to leave my last job, when it was time to pick up meditation practice, time to swim, time to eat healthier, I knew because it gave me pleasure when I made and lived into the decision. Now I am letting that guide my choices for how I organize and for what I am aiming toward with my work. Pleasure in the processes of my existence and states of my being. Yes is a future. When I feel pleasure, I know I am on the right track. Puerto Rican pleasure elder Edelise Malave shared with me that her pleasure principle is, if it pleases me, I will. When I am happy, it is good for the world. The deepest pleasure comes from riding the line between commitment and detachment. Commit yourself fully to the process, the journey, to bringing the best you can bring. Detach yourself from ego and outcomes. Make justice and liberation feel good. Your no makes the way for your yes. Boundaries create the container within which your yes is authentic. Being able to say no makes yes a choice. Mapping. During the Intro to Pleasure Activism event, we created a collective mind map of what brings us an orgasmic yes, as well as what we identify as an orgasmic no. With our yes and no in mind, we developed the values for the care economy. In this section of the zine, I will be sharing the findings from the event produced by the 17 participants, including myself, and further developed by me. What is mapping? Mind mapping is a process of writing down and visualizing ideas. It is often used as a way to brainstorm or collect communal knowledge. Creating a map allows us to draw the connections between ideas, concepts, desires, and more. I have found that simply putting thoughts and intentions on paper over and over again supports the manifestation of my desires. When I write, I better understand my desires. It puts a shape to my dreams, making them tangible. I can take action to make my dreams come true because I understand them and their relationship with my needs, skills, and priorities. Here are our findings for our individual and collective yes. Here are our findings for our individual and collective no. The little screenshot from the event of all the people's answers on a collective board. Care economy values. Values of the care economy are based on our collective yes. In my book, I intend to add the values derived from our collective no in addition to these preliminary findings. It's important to note that there were only 17 participants who created these values. I have modified them slightly. We value acts of generosity and mutual aid, an approach of curiosity, a practice of introspection, a seeking of knowledge, a directionality towards purpose and thriving, a feeling of fulfillment, a spirit of adventure. I'm taking a creative license to further elaborate on the care economy values. Here's what these values bring up for me and how I would define them. I'm sure if this process was collective, there would be more to add. The picture would be bigger. Regardless, here is what I got out of it. Generosity and mutual aid. To be generous is to care for the well-being of all humans, land, and other beings. Mutual aid is to give and know that reciprocity will come your way, perhaps in a different form and at a different time. There is a level of trust inherent in this. We must trust that others will take care of us when we need it, and only if we are open to it. Adventure. This value came as a surprise to me, but the more I think about it, the more I love it. To be adventurous is to try something new, to be willing and excited to explore and adapt. As the world gets increasingly more challenging economically, environmentally, socially, politically, etc., we will benefit from our adaptability and our willingness to change, try something new, or take calculated risks. How can the spirit of adventure shift our paradigm? Fulfillment. To be fulfilled is to experience satisfaction, to know our limits on how much we need, to not accept less than we need. Directionality and purpose. A directionality towards purpose and thriving is a movement towards an intentional goal. To move in the direction of our purpose is to explore and know ourselves. It is to align our purpose with our character, actions, words, and thoughts. Curiosity. To approach life with curiosity is to release judgment and defensiveness as our first reaction to changes and disturbances. This value is essential when developing relationships with humans, land, and other beings. I think curiosity shifts my paradigm, my perspective on conflict from one of punishment to one of openness and understanding. Introspection. Introspection is to go within, to feel and reflect. Introspection requires slowness and a pause to look at our thoughts, actions, and impact. A moment to feel our feelings, find gratitude, highlight our shadows, discover boundaries, and realign when necessary. Knowledge. A seeking of knowledge and understanding brings us closer to the divine. We seek all types of knowledge while practicing positionality. Positionality is an intersectional feminist theory that states that objectivity does not exist because knowledge is filtered through our own lived experiences and contexts. Positionality accepts a multitude of truths rather than one objective truth. When we share our perspective, lenses, and relationship to the world, we can get closer to objectivity or some form of truth. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about pleasure activism. I hope that some of this work can be implemented in your own life, bringing you more joy, bringing you more purpose, more direction, and satisfaction. I am Sola Habibi. I am a non-binary, neurodivergent, multi-heritage person. I'm a storyteller, I'm a community organizer, I'm a creative facilitator, I'm a yoga instructor, and it has been a pleasure to read to you today. If you want to buy this, it's on my website. Otherwise, I host Intro to Pleasure Activism events to this day. I will be hosting one on Tuesday, August 22nd. And it's going to be at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at 2727 California Street in Berkeley. It is donation-based, and it's going to be for my queer and BIPOC folk community, my trans community. It's going to be a special space just for us to explore pleasure activism as a radical tool for social change. If you want to come to the workshop, go ahead and find the info in the link in my bio. You can RSVP, you can donate online, whatever feels good. Thank you so much for listening.